Yo, we're back. I don't want to waste too much time. We know what we're in it for. Only interesting videos around here.
We have never been better than this.
We all know and love our friendly neighborhood Spidey, but some people have loved the edgier, gothic version of our favorite hero, who also happens to be one of our hero's biggest arch-enemy. If you guessed a certain symbiote, you're absolutely right. We're going to take a walk down nostalgia lane and explore every single version of animated Venom since his inception in the series Spider-Man 1994. Fasten your seatbelts, because it's going to be a roller coaster where each turn takes us down a different storyline. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Do this alone. We're partners. For now.
Partners? Am I out of my mind?
Spider-Man 1994. So, in this series, Eddie Brock, who will be the first host for our alien symbiote, is introduced as a journalist for the Daily Bugle, disliked by many co-workers, Peter Parker included. I wonder why. However, this dislike didn't just turn into a mutual one. It reformed itself as a pure grudge, and Brock turned revengeful towards Spider-Man and decided to wreck Spider-Man's life on multiple occasions, which, to be fair, we all relate to at times. Yes, I'm talking about you, who is pretending you're above all the pettiness. Unlike Brock, though, most of us don't act on it. There's a reason why they're called intrusive thoughts. Brock?
Right.
Anyway, he followed Spider-Man one night to the Connor's house, where Spider-Man saved him from the human-sized lizard. All the evidence he collected that night about the lizard, who really was Kurt Connors, was destroyed by Spider-Man as he tried to flee. Brock later tried to demean Spider-Man and unmask him on live television with the help of Black Widow Spider Slayer. Pretty self-explanatory name, by the way. But Black Widow accidentally ended up kidnapping Flash Thompson, who was, for some reason, dressed as Spidey. J. Jonah Jameson found out that the Daily Bugle lost its authenticity because Brock didn't unmask the real Spider-Man and fired him. This was one of the few events that caused Brock to grow disdainful of Spider-Man. Later, a standoff happens between Shocker and Spider-Man, which occurs in an attempt to save the astronaut John Jameson, son of J. Jonah Jameson, from Shocker. Spider-Man had been attached to the symbiote brought back by John Jameson. When he was bringing Prometheum X back, Brock follows Spider-Man to a church, and during the fight between Spider-Man and Shocker, Brock tries to kill him, but to no avail. Spider-Man webbed Brock to keep him out of the way, and when the church bell rang, Spider-Man realized that loud noises were the symbiote's weakness and managed to separate himself from it. Spider-Man thought the parasitic alien lifeform died, but it bonded with Brock. Brock got all the powers of Spider-Man along with all the information about him after being bonded with the symbiote. This was the inception of Venom, who was much more powerful than Spider-Man. And since the symbiote had first bonded with Spider-Man, his Spidey sense didn't sense Venom. This version of Venom was muscular and had a white spider emblem on the front of his body, which matched the white web shooting patches on his hands, sharp teeth, huge white eyes, and white pupils, and a red and blue shading over his black body. The symbiote gave Brock other powers too, though, like the ability to shoot webs with directly his hands instead of web shooters. It also turned Eddie Brock into Elastigirl, the Incredibles reference. Those who get it, which basically allowed him to stretch out his body parts and also turn into a gooey liquid, which could ooze through cracks. Now, his weaknesses, as already mentioned, were intense sounds and sonic waves. He was also debilitated by fire and extreme heat. Eddie Brock is an example of enemies to lovers, with the audience as he kind of becomes the anti-hero towards the end. He gets separated and rebounded with the symbiote multiple times, and later in the series, he tells Dr. Ashley Kafka, his psychologist at the prison he was held in for a while, after he was first separated, that he is resisting the symbiote and sparing Spider-Man because he is in love with her. And the symbiote sees her as a threat because she told Venom to spare Spider-Man's life. Later, Dormammu, the evil extra-dimensional being, asks his servants, along with Carnage, Venom's offspring, to free Dormammu from the dark dimension and bring him to Earth. Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Venom unite to stop Carnage and Mordo, but fail. Spider-Man changes the setting of the interdimensional probe created by Stark Enterprises, which had created the portal through which Dormammu came to Earth. Dormammu gets sucked back into the portal, but Spider-Man is unable to close it as Dormammu had linked the portal to Carnage. Meanwhile, Venom is rescuing Dr. Kafka, whom Carnage had abducted. Spider-Man aimed the portal at Carnage. Carnage grabbed Dr. Kafka, and announced that he wouldn't go to the Dark Dimension alone. Venom then did the heroic act of sacrifice for the woman he loved and attacked Carnage. And they both got sucked into the portal while he declared that he would forever love Dr. Kafka. Spider-Man then closed the portal, and Iron Man destroyed the machine. This was the inception of Venom, which changes throughout the coming series. Let's see what he was like in the other adaptations.
Sorry I didn't get to know you better.
Spider-Man Unlimited, 1999. In this series, Spider-Man spots Venom and Carnage getting on John Jameson's spaceship and hijacking it, which was en route to a planet on the far side of the sun called Counter-Earth. Spider-Man fails to stop them, and J. Jonah Jameson thinks his son John is dead. Then, the public and J. Jonah Jameson blame Spider-Man for this. Spider-Man fakes his own death, and then lies low for 6 months. He eventually gets a new nanotech costume by Reed Richards, and goes to Counter-Earth, where he finds that John has joined the forces of a rebellion fighting against a scientist known as High Evolutionary, who hates humans, and creates new hybrids that are mutated animals called the Bestials. Eddie Brock is briefly separated from the symbiote by the Bestials for experimentation. Towards the end of the series, Venom and Carnage disclosed they were on Counter-Earth because they had been working for Synoptic, who was planning to team up with the High Evolutionary. But their real plan is to realize symbiotes on Counter-Earth to kill everyone there. The series ends on a cliffhanger as they succeed in letting the symbiotes loose. In this series, Venom is much bigger and more powerful, having completely merged with his host Brock. He doesn't have any pupils. It is just blue and black, with the spider emblem still being white, along with his web-shooting patches and a protruding spine.
We will have vengeance on Spider-Man!
The Spectacular Spider-Man, 2008. Contrary to the 1994 version of Brock, in this series, Brock is Peter's childhood friend, and they grow up together. Their parents, who were friends and business partners, died in a plane crash. Brock protected Peter from bullies, but had deep-seated mental issues due to his parents' death, and he secretly hated Peter for being raised by his aunt and uncle, while Brock grew up alone. During college, Brock got a job as Dr. Kurt Connor's personal lab assistant, and welcomed Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker, who had joined as interns at the lab. A gene cleanser is then created, which is relevant later in the series, but initially developed to cure Dr. Connors, who has become the Lizard. He had regenerated his lost limb, but, as a side effect, turned into a human-sized lizard. Brock's disdain grows throughout the series, due to various reasons and events, and a black gooey mud thing is found attached by John Jameson's space shuttle, which is sent to Connors for analysis. It later bonds with Spider-Man, who realizes that the black thing, which he doesn't truly understand, is making him aggressive and ends up separating from it. Brock then finds the symbiote, who calls to him after sensing his hatred towards Peter, which it likes. The symbiote ends up bonding with him and revealing that Peter and Spidey are the same people. The two unite against their common enemy, becoming Venom. Venom then attacks Peter's loved ones multiple times in an attempt to destroy Peter's life. He even goes on a crime spree to frame Spider-Man, adapting the look of Spidey's costume to the one when he is attached to the symbiote. He then tries to unmask Superman to reveal his identity to everyone and force the gene cleanser down his throat so that he is vulnerable to the attacks of his enemies as he goes back to being just Peter Parker. However, during the fight, Spider-Man grabs the vial and shoves the concoction in Venom's mouth. Moments after the symbiote is separated from Brock and he is put on a stretcher and wheeled to the ambulance, he gets an identity crisis and says he'll exact revenge on Spider-Man. In this series, Venom has the same powers as Spidey, just like in the first animated Spider-Man, but he's much superior, and the Spidey sense doesn't work on him. His weakness is his vulnerability to sound. So in this series, the looks haven't changed much. He still looks like a buffed-up gym bro covered in tar, with eyes that look like they're constantly judging you. The white spider emblem stays, and so does the shark-like grin. Ultimate Spider-Man, 2012. Now we have made it to 2012, and there's a new series for our beloved Spidey. And in this one, we give Eddie a little bit of a break. Let's see who falls the victim to our non-threatening, harmless little symbiote. So in this series, Venom's origin is a mix of mad science and high school drama. Instead of the usual alien backstory, Venom here starts as a science project gone wrong. Peter Parker's best friend, Harry Osborn, gets a bit too involved in his dad's shady experiments at Oscorp. Norman Osborn, the series' go-to mad scientist and part-time Green Goblin, creates a substance called Venom using Peter's DNA. Shady science project, if you ask me. Instant disqualification. This gooey mess, when it bonds with Harry, becomes the ultimate anti-hero, Venom. Harry initially thinks he can control it. Spoiler alert, he can't. The symbiote amplifies his darker impulses, making him a super strong, web-slinging nightmare for Peter. Harry first transforms into Venom while trying to protect his friends from a threat. Classic hero move, but with a monstrous twist. The power rush is real, but so is the loss of control. Venom and Spider-Man face off multiple times. Each battle is a mix of epic web-slinging and emotional drama. Harry struggles to maintain his humanity, while Venom urges him to embrace his dark side, gives the series a rich character. In one of the more touching moments, Harry finally manages to gain control over Venom, just long enough to save Peter, proving that even with a parasitic alien attached to you, bromance conquers all. This could have been Eddie Brock and Spidey in the last series. Venom can toss cars like they're paperweights, and his web is more robust, and his web-slinging abilities are as organic as real milk. I'm eyeing the vegans. Venom can morph into different shapes, creating weapons or extra limbs. If I had this power, I'd be way too immature and do stupid things if I had extra limbs and would forget I was supposed to fight. Venom has 2 Achilles heels, loud noises, and fire. So, if you ever face off with him, bring a boombox and a flamethrower. Not exactly the things one would normally pair, but it's effective, so why not? The looks haven't changed much, except Venom looks like he went to the gym and worked on the legs too this time. The iconic long and scary tongue has stayed, but the eyes got much scarier, and he has pupils again.
We are
Hulk in the Agents of Smash, 2013. So now we arrive at the wacky world of the 2012's Hulk in the Agents of Smash series. We're talking about Venom again. Yes, the same gooey symbiote, but with a twist. The hint is in the series title. Venom in this series has finally left poor Eddie Brock alone for once. Doc Ock modified Gamma Venom to attack Agents of Smash and merge with them. His arc starts when the Agents of Smash, which stands for Supreme Military Agency of Superhumans, by the way, are dealing with all sorts of chaos. And guess who decides to crash the party and become the guest that just won't leave? Now, how did Venom land in this mess? Picture this. Venom bonds with the Hulk. Yeah, you heard that right. As if the Hulk needed any more anger issues. So, Venom latches onto Hulk, turning him into a supercharged, rage-fueled symbiotic nightmare. They call this monstrous combo Venom-Hulk. Anyway, Venom's origin in this series ties back to his eternal need to find the strongest host possible. And who better than the big green guy whose actions are summed up in 2 words: Hulk smash. Throughout the series, Venom faces off against the Agents of Smash, including Hulk's relatives, She-Hulk, Red Hulk, A-Bomb, and Scar. It's a whole family reunion, with Venom as the uninvited guest. The dynamic gets interesting because Venom's usual tactics don't work as well on the Gamma-powered crew, keeping him on his toes. Venom merges with many Hulks but is eventually defeated by them, ringing a giant bell. Venom, as usual, comes with super strength, and super as in being able to lift 700 pounds without bonding with anyone.
Where's Moana?
Looking for Moana 2? It's now streaming on Disney+.
Agility, and those creepy tendrils. But when bonded with Hulk, his powers go berserk. Super strength is an obvious power. I mean, come on, Hulk plus Venom. Venom also retains his usual shape-shifting abilities, web-slinging, and healing factor. He can literally become a Swiss knife, as in creating weapons from his own body mass. Also, he can change in size. Venom's size is directly proportional to how much radiation he absorbs, though Venom's usual vulnerabilities to sonic attacks and intense heat still apply, making it possible, though not easy, for the Agents of Smash to take him down. Seeing the Hulk's usual green skin with Venom's creepily long tongue is literally straight out of a fever dream. The white spider emblem stayed with the creepy white eyes. There are no pupils in this one.
mortals. By very definition, your life.
Avengers Assemble, 2013. In this series, Venom is a mass-produced version of the symbiote that Dr. Octopus has created for Norman Osborn, using Spidey's DNA. Here, Venom is on a host-jumping spree. He switches hosts like changing channels on the TV while alone on a Saturday night. Super strength, agility, and quick healing go up all the way to the penthouse. And the weakness is like having perfect pitch, constantly having to listen to really bad opera singers, basically, loud sound. He has creepy eyes in this one, with a red and black body, white hair, and a cape have been added. And the tongue that looks like a snake with a shark's grin is still present. Guardians of the Galaxy, 2015. In this series, Spidey's arch-enemy, Venom, is teamed up with Carnage, landing on the site and trying to find a new host to latch onto. This made things so much worse for the Guardians, as they had to deal with not only Venom, but also carnage. The strengths stay the same as in the previous series, and the weaknesses are loud sounds and fire. As for appearance, he is predominantly black, with tentacle-like things that are a part of him, along with black hands. He has horn-like things protruding from his elbows, and his white Spidey emblem sometimes has a red glow along with red eyes.
I'll be seeing you soon, Spider-Man!
Spider-Man 2017. Venom, in this series, was created using the remnants of his dead Clintar sister, the All-Black. I know that sounds like gibberish, so let me explain. Null, also known as the Void, was a powerful cosmic being who created 4 of the first beings of their species. These were sentient beings, known as symbiote sisters, who were weaponized and their species was called Clintar, which translates to cage. Venom conquered many planets for his species and perfected his techniques as he did so. He was discovered by the Space Administration and donated to Horizon High after he was sent to Earth to conquer it. The founder of Horizon High, Max Modell, named it V-252, hoping to add it to the periodic table. It later found Spider-Man and bonded with him. Spider-Man found its weaknesses, which were sonic blasts and sounds, and with the help of the Vulture's sonic blasts, he managed to get it off of him and contain it. Then, V-252 bonded with Flash Thompson and became Venom. Later, Eddie Brock, cheer everyone, found the V-252 container, and the symbiote broke the container and bonded with Brock, becoming Venom. He stalked Peter and his loved ones, and later revealed his identity to Peter. In the 3rd season, Max Modell experiments on the symbiote defeated by Spidey to create a synthetic suit for him. Dr. Connors discovers this and accidentally unleashes Venom, who then goes after a mysterious weapon. Spidey tries to catch him, but Venom identifies the suit and absorbs it back into him, granting him all his powers. Venom returns to the Space Administration and finds a seed that boosts his power and allows him to contact his fellow symbiotes on an asteroid. Spider-Man stops him with electricity, but not before he triggers a symbiote invasion. Venom later returns, revealing that he recovered by hiding in Max's bloodstream. He summons the 3 symbiote sisters, using the scientist's matter transport portal to destroy Earth. He looks like Spidey, and during the time he is bonded with him, he turns his suit black. With Flash Thompson and Eddie, he was more muscular and bulkier, with a white emblem of a spider that extended to his forearms, maniacal eyes, and sharp fangs.
This isn't over. I'll be seeing you soon.
Marvelous verdict. This was a rundown of all the versions of Venom, and there were many different arcs explored, from his different origins to different hosts and ambitions. The one constant was his hatred for Spider-Man, which made him one of Spidey's major arch-enemies. There was a redemption arc in the first arc in the Origin series, but it seems to have been lost throughout the character's evolution. Let's see if any more arcs will be explored in the future, but until then, let's take the bye out of symbiote. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
Alright. That was something. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Y'all stay tuned.